The Oilers acquire Isaac Howard. We're excited about him. Oilers fans are excited. It's a guy who everyone is kind of saying, like, you don't make this trade unless you firmly believe Isaac Howard can jump into your top 6, top 9 next year and make an impact. You are an unbiased prospect analyst, so you tell me, can Isaac Howard jump into the top 6, top 9?
I think so. And I think that's what you kind of really want to throw him in there and do. Like, I don't know who you necessarily take out. I don't know if that's a Podkolzin, and I don't know if you take that opportunity away from Savoy. But I think with him, he needs to have a very smart, effective playmaking center, someone who knows how to get the puck to him, because when it comes to Isaac Howard, he's not going to be an all-around threat. That's what Sam O'Reilly is going to be, probably, with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's going to be an all-around player. But I don't see Sam O'Reilly putting up 30 goals a season like we could see at some point out of Isaac Howard. So I think if you're not going to give him an opportunity to play a lot of minutes with quality centermen, I don't know what the point of keeping him in the NHL next year. And if he goes to the AHL, that's fine. Like that's not considered a failure at this point. He just had nothing left to prove in college. He was ready to turn pro. If he's not in the NHL, that's fine.
What kind of player is he? Like, give me the archetype. What does he do well? What are the pluses? What are the minuses in his game?
Well, kind of ever since we saw him play at the NTDP, this is a guy that just loves having the puck on his stick. He does so much offensively. He's always shooting. He's great in the power play. And he is a guy that's kind of built for like a scoring roll or bust situation. I don't know who I would give as a good comparable, but I'd say with him, it's like he's a really good skater. A very good shot. You put that together, there's a lot to love there. Really good at just bringing the puck out of the defensive zone and making things happen there. Defensively, that's where he falls apart, and that's where he's never really been very good. Physically, he's really kind of shies away from big bodies. But you don't need everyone to be this 6'2" power forward style guy. Like, you need guys who could put pucks in the net. So that's where he comes into play here.
Do you think he's a guy that's, I guess, been overshadowed throughout his career until this last season, obviously winning a Hobey Baker, but like on those US development teams where everyone goes ahead of him in a draft, he goes 31st, whatever it was. It just seems like he's never been the guy until this past season, and then he lights up college hockey and wins a Hobey Baker.
Yeah, like when he was at UMD, the Minnesota Duluth, like he basically did a whole lot of nothing. For a guy that loves to shoot the puck, he didn't get those opportunities. He wasn't playing with a ton of skilled guys, and he just it was not a good fit. But he got to go and reunite with Adam Nightingale, the guy who his coach was at the NTDP. So we knew obviously he believed in him there, but he also got to be just like the primary shooter. And you see these clips, he scores a lot of goals from the same area where he's always kind of on that right side. He's a left shot, but he could just fire it. And I watched him play up close a couple times in the last couple of years, and every time it's just like his one-timer is as good as you would find in that college level. And I think that's, you put him on the power play, he's going to put up a ton of points. And that's what he was able to show this past year at Michigan. Like he was good 2 years ago, but he was great this season. And he was not in a situation where they just gave him more opportunities in high danger areas. He was playing with good line mates pretty much all the time, whether it be Charlie Stramel or one of the older guys on the team. And I think you just leave him open at your peril, basically, because he's going to make you pay.
You got another one?
I was gonna to ask about Sam O'Reilly,
Yeah,
and I guess two-part question. One, how close do you think he even was to being an NHL player at this point? And the second one being, do you think the Oilers will come to regret trading him away for an Isaac Howard, or do you think this is just a trade that they needed to do right now for a guy like Howard's ability?
Yeah, I think 100% this was a trade worth doing for both teams in a lot of cases. Obviously, he wasn't going back to Tampa Bay. They're looking for a bit more center depth. They get a guy who could play center, who could play the wing, and could kind of do everything as a two-way threat there. And he loves having the puck on his stick. You then look at Isaac Howard, who's more of a goal scorer, but not as well-rounded. Like with O'Reilly, he's really good defensively. Like, it's like, okay, I made this comparison sort of on DFO Live this morning. You look at someone like Connor Bedard, and he's got all this skill in the world. He loves to put the puck on net, do things like that. You compare him against Celebrini, who might not put up as many points, but could end up becoming a better player because he's more of an all-around threat, and you can use him in these different situations. Obviously, these two guys are nowhere near that. But with O'Reilly, like, he's still a few years away. I think you want to see him take another step forward in a leading role with the London Knights, knowing that Easton Cowan is turning pro this year, and he'll have an opportunity to do that and be a big piece, a big part of that team that's trying to chase a third straight OHL championship. But with Howard, he's older. He just came off of the Hobey Baker season. Dominating college in your third year is not the definition of success by any means. Like there's a lot of guys who dominate college in the last 2 years of their junior career and don't turn out to be anything. But I think with him, it's like he's ready to go right now. Sam O'Reilly's not. And if you're looking to be in win now mode, you're like the Oilers are, and you need some extra goal scoring, Isaac Howard made a lot of sense.
What do you make of the way the Oilers are trying to, in some way, build up a prospect pool here? Like we saw them obviously take the shot and sign Quinn Hudson out of the NCAA yesterday. And like, listen, it's hard to build up a prospect pool when every trade deadline, it's just like we are trading our first round pick to try win a Stanley Cup. But I look here and I'm like, there are names that I recognize at least. You got Hudson, you have Bo Akey. I think about over in Russia with Maxim Berezhkin or however you say it. Like, I know it's in the bottom third or even bottom five of the NHL, but is it maybe starting to show signs of life?
Like before this trade, I'd say if you had to pick, like in the top 100 prospects in hockey, realistically, they had one, and it's Matthew Savoy. And then you look after that, like Hudson, I've said before, like he's a good energy guy, but I don't think he's a full-time NHL player anytime soon. He kind of really rose to like prominence pretty late, so I'm not 100% convinced there. But yeah, like you couldn't have done much worse than what they had, right? And you're still trying to go out there and get a ton of depth and things like that. So, look, you got your best prospect a year ago in the Ryan McLeod trade. You're getting another guy who's arguably maybe ready to play even a higher role already here in Howard here. So also I know some people were kind of making fun of him because he's like right off his bat today, he's like, I go by Ike. That is what he's been asking people to call him since since the program. So that's not an arrogance thing. That's just what he goes by.
Okay. I'm glad we got that sorted out too.
I wanted to ask you about the Hobey Baker, the award itself. Like, it seems like the past, I would say, you look back, like the last three winners are Fantilli, Celebrini, and Howard, and you look at the finalists for those awards as well, and they're all unbelievable players, or soon to be unbelievable players. Like last year, Howard beat out Ryan Leonard and, how do you say his name? Zeev Buiumi from Buyum, the Minnesota player now. It seems like this award has got a lot better the last few years rather than random players. Like, I know Dryden McKay was a great college goalie, but he's never touched the NHL. And, I don't even know who the guy is above Cale McCann. No offense to him, but it's like, it seems like this award is way better now than it was even 4 years ago, right?
Utah Hockey Club defenseman Scott Perunovich? Liam.
He plays in the NHL?
Yeah, he was with the Blues last year.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah. So when you look at this, it's like, a lot of kind of more obscure names. Like you could go back and you see it was Johnny Gaudreau did in 2014. It was Eichel the year after that, and then Jimmy Vesey and Will Butcher and Adam Gaudette. It's like, all right, that's not exactly the same level player. For the longest time, the guys who would dominate college were the players who were older, but we're seeing younger guys come in and make a bigger impact right away. Like, don't be surprised if Gavin McKenna wins this award next year. And Celebrini did it as a rookie, as a 17-year-old, and was like that well-deserved there. You're seeing these guys becoming more prepared, but also some players come into college a year early. Like Celebrini had a fast track to be able to do it. McKenna didn't have to because he's an older prospect in this draft class. But I think when you see these guys that are third, fourth year players win it, it's like a lot of those times it's like they want it because they're more experienced than everybody else and not because they're going to be the star player. So you see that in the CHL a lot too, where like the best player in the CHL is a guy that doesn't even get drafted or sign an NHL contract. Yeah. So when you look at Howard here, it feels like he was a bit of a late bloomer, but he was a dominant goal scorer in junior hockey. He became a dominant player in college hockey. I have a lot more faith in him becoming successful than Dryden McKay or Adam Gaudette or Will Butcher when those guys were coming through.